Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday drawing session with me, Frank Cho. There's my trusty art supply, my Pentel mechanical pencil, zero point 0.7 HB lead, and my kneaded eraser, and my paper, the paper that I always use, Strathmore Bristle Board 300 series with vellum surface. The vellum surface has a slight tooth, which I love because it kind of grips the pencil really well. Today we are gonna get away from superheroes and draw something a little different. I'm a big horror fan. I've always been a huge horror fan. Um, I guess that's not quite right. I've been a huge monster fan. I really love those Universal monsters. You know, Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf, and Creature from the Black Lagoon, and all that. I wasn't a huge mummy fan. I thought it was. I never kind of grasped the concept of the mummy getting killed by the mummy, where he's so slow. You know, you could just outrun him. You know, it just didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so today we are going to draw a werewolf. Werewolf is one of my favorite monsters of all time. I've really loved those classic monster movies. Classic meaning I grew up in the 80s, so all the 80s stuff. So you have the American Werewolf in London, The Howling, and all these other werewolf movies that I loved. And Thriller, actually, Michael Jackson Thriller. And Rick Baker was the master of the furry monsters. You know, he always did the Great Werewolf and King Kong and all that stuff. So if you need any furry animal monster, you call Rick Baker. Actually, another great special effects monster guy was excuse me, Rob Bottin, and he was absolutely just incredible. I mean, his creatures were just stunning. He did the Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and that movie just blew my mind away. I mean, because it was so thinking outside the box. Anyway, going back to the werewolf stuff, I love werewolves. I thought one of the best werewolf artists of all time is Bernie Wrightson. So I've always loved Bernie stuff, starting from the Swamp Thing, from his Swamp Thing days, uh, and and you know, and his werewolf, the Psycho Werewolf, was another masterpiece that he did with Stephen King. Um, that was really great stuff, and of course, Bernie's also known for his absolutely masterpiece of a book, Frankenstein. But again, Bernie was another guy who drew monsters really well, especially werewolves. And I was actually I was hoping that he would do more werewolf stuff, but he never did. So anyway, with that in mind, those were some of my influences: Bernie Wrightson and all those other special effects guys. And I just something about werewolves that just kind of sings to me. So there is just so, I don't know, something primal about it, and I've always like really wanted to do like a werewolf book, and so here I am. It's just I'm just kind of like I've already have an image in mind. The image is of a werewolf chasing a rabbit, which I thought was kind of funny. And so here's werewolf. He is kind of like leaping over a fallen log to chase the rabbit. You know, his lunch or dinner. I guess just dinner because it's nighttime. Excuse me. So so the thing about the werewolf is essentially you it's a dog's head. It's a wolf head on a pretty much like a lean human body, and it's actually kind of easy to draw once you kind of have that in mind. And also, like a dog, every canine, you want to make the hind leg kind of thinner and somewhat shorter, with the ankle to the toe area elongated, kind of like a wolf. And then you have the arms. The arms are kind of like thinner and longer, but still muscular. So that's the key to drawing a werewolf. Actually, so a lot of people know that I'm really into Bigfoot and all that stuff. And in the past decade, in the last 10 years or so, the thing that really that caught my attention is, besides Sasquatches and Bigfoots and and Yetis, there's a fourth creature called the dogman. So essentially, they're werewolves. Um, and from what I'm reading from all the cryptid stuff, they are they're biologically engineered by top secret labs, and I guess they got the body of a Sasquatch and a head of a German Shepherd. So they're like really. The more I hear about them, especially there's a lot in the Louisiana area, in the backwood of the Louisiana area. There's stories of, you would think Sasquatches, but no, they're called dogmen, and I think they're it's crazy. I mean, they really are like werewolves, and some of those eyewitnesses is just really out there and just fascinating. So they're saying that these things are like 7 feet tall and has a very canine head. It almost looks like a German Shepherd. A lot of people like a German Shepherd, like a wolf. And then the body is this kind of like this muscular, hairy, muscular, humanoid type bodies. And it's just absolutely fascinating. So if you guys get a chance, go on the internet and look for dogman. So type up Sasquatch and also type up dogman, and you'll get these crazy first person eyewitness accounts of these new creatures, essentially. And it's I don't know why they were created, but knowing these black secret projects, they're created to weaponize. For what purpose? I have no idea. You know, and so it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. It's just that there's so many weird stuff out there. It's just like, what's that saying goes? Life is stranger than real life is stranger than fiction. And so yeah, this is one of them. So again, going back to the werewolf, I love werewolf. I just love drawing werewolves, and gorillas. And I like drawing these kind of like hairy, muscular creatures. And so when you're drawing a werewolf, you want to keep the head very lean and kind of elongate it to really emphasize the canine features, and then make sure you have this tuft of hair in the side. It's almost like mutton chops, but it's actually there's a certain, it's almost like a triangular shaped tufts of hair, making the whole head kind of like very triangular and very angled, and also with this really pointy wolf ears. And again, Bernie Wrightson does a fantastic job of these this design, which I love. And yeah, so here I am drawing the hair. So that's the big secret of drawing werewolf, is just a lot of hair, a lot of hair, and then here's the pointy ear. So like, you just have to be really careful though. You don't want to make it too pointy and too angular, because they start taking a very fox-like features, which you don't want. You want more of a like a wolf, like a canine feature, like a doggish feature. You don't want too much canine fox features. And the shoulders, there's a three large muscle group in the shoulder, posterior, anterior, the middle, the three muscle group. And that whole shoulder area, the I actually learned how to draw a shoulder by looking at Neil Adams stuff. Neil Adams, again, absolutely legendary comic book artist that I've looked up to. And his stuff is just absolutely fantastic. And there's a foreshortening part of the limbs. Now you don't want to draw the arms too muscular. You kind of want you want them to be kind of long, muscular but long, and you don't want like a big Hulk-like arms. You want this kind of elongated, long, like a long limb, yet muscular. Actually funny. I'm like looking at this as I'm drawing. There's a certain Iggy Pop quality to the figure. So Iggy Pop is his musician, and he's like known for just being really skinny yet muscular, and look kind of freakish. So yeah, so when you draw a werewolf, think of Iggy Pop. I guess Iggy Pop is the spirit animal. So as you can see, I am drawing the chest, but I am kind of like reducing it, kind of. I don't want to make it too muscular. Like I said, you don't want overtly muscular. You don't want like a Hulk-like figure. You don't want to be like a bodybuilder, like a mass monster. You want to be kind of more like a runner, like a runner body. Kind of thin but still muscular. So I am basically reinforcing the jawline because you don't want that lower jaw to completely disappear into to the shadows. There's the intercostal muscle. Now, so as I said before, once you study anatomy, you can just do just about anything. I looked at a lot of anatomy books growing up, and I learned anatomy by copying pages from these medical anatomy books until I figured out, what where all the muscle grouping went and how they looked in general. And then once you have that knowledge, you can twist and pull to when you draw to fit the character. I really love the pencil. I mean, I really love just drawing with a pencil because you can do so much with it. You can create hard lines, soft lines, shade, lighting, and all that. And if you make a mistake, you just erase it. So as I said in the earlier videos, don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, just erase it. I mean, this is the perfect time to make mistakes. So there I am. I screwed up. And I just erased it. You erase it and just go on. So don't be afraid to make mistake. The pencil stage is always the fun. You just try things out, and if it doesn't work, you erase it. So I can't stress enough the pencil stage. To me, the pencil stage is always the most freeing, most liberating, most entertaining, and the exciting part of the drawing because you're just creating. You're just absolutely just creating something out of nothing, and that's just exciting. Because more than half the time is completely not what you expect. So I'm always entertained and kind of amazed because I have like a rough image in mind when I draw something, and then when I finish it, it's just completely different, or not completely different, but different than what I originally thought. And so that's always fun, you know. It's like happy little accidents. And there's the foreshortening, which is always hard, but once you kind of like get used to it, it just comes second nature. So if you really want to learn how to foreshorten limbs and stuff like that, again, I say look at Neil Adams stuff. Neil Adams stuff from the 1960s and 70s. When he was at his peak, when he was drawing Batman and Deadman and Green Arrow and Green Lantern stuff. Especially especially Batman. I mean, he was just like he was just freaking cooking with gas. That guy was absolutely unbelievable. And actually, I'm actually glad that I got to know Neil Adams like the last 15 years of his life. He was like everyone's dad. I mean, he was just like this big, burly guy. And really nice guy. Absolutely fantastic guy. And a top-notch talent. I think he's the second most influential comic book artist of all time, just right behind Jack Kirby. So there it is. So Werewolf, you don't want to make the feet to look too much human. You want to elongate the part from the ankle to the toes. You want that part to be really long and kind of skinny, almost like like a cross. It's a cross between a canine's foot and a human foot. So you still want to retain that kind of the human element, but also you want to like have that canine influence and just elongate that part. And also, the secret to werewolves are their claws, so you make sure you draw the claws. So when you're drawing monsters, it's always important to basically use a lot of shadows, a lot of shading, a lot of shadows. And so the light source is coming from the top. So if it's a clock, the light source is coming from roughly the 12 o'clock angle. So usually in all my drawings, most of my drawing, the light source for me is always like 11, 12, and 1 o'clock, angle. I really love drawing the hair, they just kind of, you feather it with the pencil, give it that really soft kind of texture, but, and you basically go in and darken certain lines to create the hair, the individual strands of hair that just kind of sticks out. It just give it that hairy appearance. There, and I basically shape the eraser to a point, so I can go in and erase. Have a more surgical erasing to do more surgical erasing in that kind of a very narrow area in the hand. Again, foreshortening the angle shot of the hand is always tricky. But if you know the anatomy, it actually kind of is kind of easy. You get used to it. And another, like I said, the master of that hand sticking out, coming straight out at you, is Neil Adams. So I looked at a lot of Neil Adams stuff, and that's how I actually learned how to draw a lot of that classic hand just coming right at you. That's just pure Neil Adams hand. So there I am. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out, the thumb placement. So that's what I do. When I'm stuck, I mean, I use myself as a reference, and 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 you should too. I mean, it's every artist I know have always used themselves as reference. So if you get stuck, just use yourself as a reference. So there I was off camera. I was listening to Anthony Bourdain's show, A Cook's Tour, his very first TV show, and then the episode ended, and then I'm trying to figure out, trying to turn the episode the to go to the next episode, and then and then my stupid laptop kind of like shut down. So people say, "What do you do when you're drawing?" Most of the time I actually listen to music. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I listen to a lot of TV shows. I actually watch a lot of documentary shows, and I love Anthony Bourdain. It's really sad what happened to him. But I used to look at his all of his shows, Cook's Tours, No Reservation, and what was the one that he did for CNN? God, I forgot the name of it. But I would watch his show all the time because he was such a snarky, funny guy. And then yeah, so once I have like the gray tone the arm, and I erase it to give it to draw in the veins. And now you don't want to go too crazy, like Simon Bisley. Simon Bisley tend to go really, really, absolutely nutty with the veins, and and all that. You want to be more grounded, realistically, more a little bit more subtle. Like Frazetta. Frazetta actually did a great job of drawing veins in arms, and and hands and stuff like that. So I'm actually telling you all the different influences of mine. So yeah, I guess my influence are Frank Frazetta, Neil Adams, John Buscema, a lot of guys. For those ballpoint pen stuff, Serpieri, Michelangelo. Michelangelo was a huge influence on me growing up. And Adam Al Williamson. Al Williamson was the master of the black and white ink stuff. His stuff was absolutely amazing. And Bernie Wrightson, big fan of Bernie Wrightson. And for that ink line stuff, that really intense ink line stuff, that engraved look, is Franklin Booth. Franklin Booth is, you guys should need to check that guy out. That guy was just absolutely on a different level. I mean, his stuff is just amazing. So as I said, with the werewolf, you want to have it look human, but also kind of elongated. Everything about the werewolf is kind of elongated, because if you look at the dogs and wolves, their limbs are kind of long and thin. So you want to kind of mimic that. And here's the wisp of hair. I'm just erasing and more erasing. So again, don't be if you make a mistake, don't be afraid to erase it. That's all part of being an artist. You make a mistake, you erase it until you get it right. And if you can't get it right, usually the best thing is you stop drawing and you walk away. Just for ignore it for a few hours, sometimes a day, or sometimes a week. And then when you come back to it, you'll automatically see where you made a mistake, and it's actually kind of fascinating. You come back with a fresh eye, and and then the mistake will jump out at you, and then that's when you correct it. But if you're in a deadline, then well, you're kind of screwed. So there I am again, just adding the veins in the bicep and the forearm. Now, right there, that technique is just off Rosetta. Rosetta would do that all the time. Again, the key is to not to go crazy, not to go like really, really crazy with the veins. You want it more realistic, more subtle. So this is a part where I'm start erasing individual strand of hair to give it the more realistic hair look, the fur look. So when I'm inking, this is the part that I get the pro white, and I kind of brush in the white lines to kind of give it the highlight, the hair's highlight. So I like to kind of rub it in, kind of give it that soften, some of the lines. So there I am, actually kind of like reinforcing the hair by erasing out the pencil mark. So kind of creating that individual strands of hair, and the highlights, kind of adding the highlights in the hair in the side of the face. Again, more hair. And then drool. So I pretty much got the overall, adding the nipples. I got the overall drawing done. So at this point, I am just reinforcing the shadows and the hairs, just putting the finishing touches on it. And then here I am drawing the rabbit. We're actually gonna draw the log first. So that's what I like about drawing logs and trees. So I don't like drawing mechanical things like cars and building and all that, because it's just, to me, it is very restraining. I'm a very organic kind of guy. I think Bernie Wrightson said the same thing. He said that he prefers to draw organic stuff because it's more liberating. I mean, I can draw buildings and cars and motorcycle and spaceships and all that stuff, but I don't have the same level of enthusiasm for it. To me, it just kind of like it's like drawing a house. I mean, it's just I'm not a Like might as well have been an architect, if I was gonna just sit down and just with a ruler and draw these like straight lines and all that. So to me, drawing mechanical things just leave me cold. I mean, it just kind of takes the fun out of drawing. So I'm a very organic guy. I love drawing people and creatures and animals and stuff like that, and trees and plant. And actually, this whole overall drawing, you can see my level of enthusiasm because, again, I love drawing monsters. And you can actually see the overall drawing kind of like reflect that. You can see my enthusiasm and just the overall fun of it. So here I am drawing the rabbit. If you really study animal, all the animal pretty much share very similar body structure. Like a rabbit is very similar to cat, and cat is very similar to a dog, and the dog is very similar to a lion and all that. Even horses and cows, if you know how to draw the human anatomy, the muscle grouping of the animals are very similar. If in the abstract. So since I know the human anatomy, drawing animals, it takes a little bit of studying, but it's a lot easier when you realize what the human anatomy looks like. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and kind of like redraw that rabbit. It looks almost too much like a cat to me. So this part, so when I'm drawing the background, it's just I don't know how to explain this. I'm just this is just all I'm just sketching. I really don't have any plan of what the foreground and the background is gonna look like until I actually do it. So I decided to kind of give it in the background like trees and silhouette of a trees. But I didn't want to go too dark because you don't want to compete with the werewolf figure. So you want to draw the trees and the branches and all that, and then kind of shade it in, but you don't want it too dark to a point where it competes with the drawing of the werewolf. So I basically do a rough shading just to kind of block in the trees. So again, this I didn't really plan too much of this. So I'm just kind of like going with my gut. Trust your gut. As that old saying goes, if it looks right, it's right. If it looks wrong, it's wrong. And drawing in that moss. The guy who did really absolutely great foliage was Al Williamson and stuff like this. Al Williamson would just draw these beautiful foliage, leaves and moss and all that. And these great rocks and these great organic shapes and all that. So yeah, two of my favorite guys when it comes to drawing stuff like that was Al Williamson and Frank Frazetta. They both had a wonderful eye and imagination for organic stuff. So yeah, here I'm just adding the shadows and stuff. Again, you just play around with it. So you want to kind of give that kind of angled foreground, angled planes to kind of give that interest, and also that kind of shows the distance, kind of have an illusion of distance and all that. Just reinforcing the hair. Yeah, this was a really fun drawing. Yeah, I mean, this. I really need to draw like a monster book with werewolves and and stuff like that. So I'm just reinforcing the shadows. I'm just shading in, making the the shadows darker, putting in the finishing touches, and kind of like blend it in a little bit, adding a little bit of the shadows on the rabbit, the finishing touch, and there it is. Werewolf chasing a rabbit. Thank you for watching.